Who are some celebrities that give you bad vibes? Sia. The weird control she has over the young dancer from her music videos. Apparently she won't let her, the dancer, have any other gigs. Also her entire movie about the autistic girl was so terrible and weird. Christina Aguilera. This isn't a vibe, it is real. I met her at a meet and greet when I was 10 years old because of my Make-A-Wish wish. Backstreet Boys weren't available. I was a sick kid, looked very physically sick, and she took one look at me up and down, made a new face, but quickly faked a smile for the camera. She's a grade A butthole. I should have just went to Disneyland like most kids chose for their wish. Would have been great if you said, sorry if I'm grossing you out, the Backstreet Boys weren't available. Olivia Munn is god-awful. She used to come into a restaurant I worked at in Hollywood. She was, bar none, the worst celebrity patron I ever had to deal with. Servers would give up their table just to get out of dealing with her. She would do crap like insist that she sit at an 8 top even if there were like 3 or 4 people in her party just because the table was in the center of the room and she wanted to be seen even though we'd be busy and there were larger parties coming. She also would degrade servers. She thought it was funny to rip on people to be funny, but it wasn't funny. It was just crappy bullying. It was like when the popular idiots in your high school made fun of you. She even ripped on the buses. Who freaking does that? I personally think she has imposter syndrome really badly and overcompensates by acting a lycan butthole. A lot of celebrities that I've had bad experiences with do this, but she was the absolute worst. It bewilders me that an establishment would tolerate this behavior and allow her to come back. I'm a bartender in Old San Juan and we get plenty of famous actors, musicians, whatever coming through. And if they see, they get thrown the frick out and 86D. Not just my bar, any of the decent spot in town. Multiple Grammy award winning artist sends in his security to ask us to clear the bar so he can come in and not be bothered, frick right off. Now you're 86DUT. All TV pastors that live the life of luxury while asking their lower middle class audience for money because God will return it 10x. If there is a devil, he's most certainly Kenneth Copeland. Can't believe this isn't near the top, but Mark Zuckerberg. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but if someone told me he was a lizard man in a skin suit I would just accept it as fact. Or a sentient lampshade. Guy is creepy as heck, and just about the epitome of psychopath. Managed to make a crappy website about rating girls' appearances on his college campus into one of the most powerful mega corporations on earth. What the frick? Sentient lampshade. Jeezy, super creepy dude. Kept hitting on my photographer even after she declined him multiple times and said she had a kid and a man. After he left, someone from his team gave her a hotel room key which she threw away. Big Sean, overall butthole. Spit at me because I was filming his wrong side. Should have walked off that job but didn't. Really the only 2 celebrities I've encountered that weren't professional and or kind. I heard from someone that at one of his concerts, his manager gave this girl and her friend a hotel room key to G-Eazy's room, even after they said they were underage. All the celebs who obviously had work done but refused to admit it. Oh, I would never put a needle near my face, I'm already a model, so why would I need that? They literally think we are not only very stupid, but also very blind. Nothing wrong with plastic surgery, but please just admit it. I'm talking about nearly every top model and every Kardashian. YouTubers as well. This is one of the many things I love about Dolly Parton. She's owned being plastic since forever, even in times when the stigma against it was much larger. I guess most people don't feel as secure in their talent and fame as Dolly does though. Christian Bale said he based his performance as Patrick Bateman in American Psycho on the impression he got of Tom Cruise after meeting him. Really makes you think about what Tom Cruise must be like. I've met Christian Bale. He's cool. He mostly only cares about not being recognized and just being a normal person. One thing that threw me off was his accent. I don't know about bad vibes, but I know the ankle monitor around James Charles gives bad vibrations when he's within 500 featuring of a school. Elizabeth Moss. Something about her starring in a cult show while still being a cult member and defending it doesn't sit right with me. I dated a Scientologist for a while, and as a result I literally cannot watch or listen to anything starring or made by Scientologists. It's a destructive cult with extremely dangerous views on mental health created by a crappy pulp science fiction writer who only created it for the money. DJ Khaled, there's nothing authentic and down to earth about him, it's all an image, and it was made obvious when the whole Tyler the Creator #1 album thing came out. The industry might love him, but he's an egomaniac who thrives off others' success. He was a guest at a music festival I went to a few years ago. He decided to bring a DJ to mix his entire set while he just jumped around and spoke into the mic. He would sing along to All I Do Is Win, and 30 seconds into the song he was out of breath and just yells "sing my crap" as he held the mic out to the crowd. He's an absolute clown, honestly. Rolf Harris, long before the pedophile stuff came out, always gave me a bad vibe. Even as a kid I just didn't like him. Something always felt off. Joel Osteen. That fake butt smile. The way he moves, never mind what he's trying to sell. He's a freaking backstabbing predator. Every time I see that man's face I have the overwhelming urge to punch it with a brick. I saw a post that said that Joel Osteen looks like Martin Short doing an impression of Tim Allen, and I must say it is quite accurate. I've met tons of celebrities in person. Here are my top 3 worst celebrities based off my interactions with them. 1. Heidi Montag and Spencer Pratt. Super cringe couple that thinks they are more famous than they actually are. 2. Rick Ross. He thinks he's above the rules. Super selfish. Very confrontational. 3. Simon Cowell. He really thinks his crap don't stink. Background doorman at the Brown Hotel in Louisville from 2006 to 2012. Side note, top celebrities. 1. Most famous, Obama. 2. Nicest, Paula Abdul. She is straight sugar in terms of attitude. One of the sweetest and most caring celebrities, much less individuals I've ever interacted with. She truly cares about others' well-being no matter who they are. It might be a cliche answer now, but when everybody, it seemed, was watching Ellen and thinking she was this awesome person, I was so incredibly put off, and I didn't say anything mainly because I didn't want people to think I was homophobic. But the couple times I saw her talk show, I swear that smile never reached her eyes. I kept thinking, she hates being there. She hates absolutely everyone in that studio. Turns out I was right. Simon Cowell. I mean, it's pretty much a given at this point that he's a soulless seal of a man. But I reckon there's so much more that we couldn't begin to imagine. I have lots of thoughts about the way he treats his artists in the behind the scenes of X Factor, etc. But also the fact that his longtime PR agent Max Clifford is a complete scumbag who was convicted of multiple accounts of assault, and they were close friends for decades. You can't convince me that Simon hasn't also done sketchy crap too. I wouldn't call him a celebrity, but I would say Kenneth Copeland. What a creepy piece of crap human being. He's taking money and taking advantage of scared old people while acting holier than thou. Frick him and all the other televangelists as well, lol. Kim Kardashian. I don't think she sleeps normally. She probably just stands in a dark corner like the Blair Witch Project. I recently came across her bragging about her sleep through that Oura ring. She sleeps 9 hours a day and likes to tell people how important rest is, as if we all have a team of assistants, maids, and nannies to raise our kids to make our day easier. I don't know if I even have a good explanation, but something about Olivia Munn is just off-putting to me. 100% must be all the divorced men she's tried to pull. She's got a shameless energy and seems to put out this very fake, trying to be humble persona. I used to feel bad for strongly disliking her based on a vibe, but after listening to her on Whitney Cummings' podcast, it felt more justified. She had an unhealthy fascination with John Mulaney that she tried, and failed, to pull off as an attempt to be friends with both him and his wife. So it was safe to say I was unsurprised when that whole relationship whirlwind happened soon after he got out of rehab. Wendy Williams. After seeing a clip of her mocking Terry Crews for coming out publicly about being sexually assaulted, I can't believe she still gets views. Her audience is a bunch of brain-dead fuckheads to clap at her horrible statements. Jeffree Star. Couldn't stand him when he was MySpace famous, and I can't stand him now. I was so upset when he became a YouTube beauty guru. He's been notoriously narcissistic, racist, and just plain awful. Any celebrity that is a member of Scientology. I've been a poll worker in the voting precinct where Scientology has its big Riverside County compound. A tall woman with short dark hair brought in about 20 votes from their compound. She was wearing a black pantsuit with a black suit jacket and a white button-down shirt with a fold-down collar. Looked well put together and professional. Under California law, voters can fill out an absentee ballot and drop it off at a polling place. A voter can let someone else drop off their ballot as long as all of the documentation on the outside of the envelope is filled out correctly. All of the Scientologists' paperwork was perfect. No omissions, no errors. The signatures all matched. I'm not suggesting they cheated. The experience of working that polling location was off in a different way. A few hours later another batch of votes arrived from the Scientology compound, carried by a woman in the same pantsuit, but it was a different woman several inches shorter who wore exactly the same pantsuit size for her frame. The garments were identical, same black business jacket, same button-down white blouse with a fold-down collar. It's as if they had a uniform for dropping off votes. It was part of the poll worker job to verify voter addresses. No one from the Scientology compound went to the polling place in person to vote. That was just one election. Things might have been different other times. And to be on the safe side, this is a throwaway account. Thought the Reddit community might find this tidbit interesting. Joss Whedon, there's something creepy about him. It was such a disappointment to me the more I found out about the way he acts on set and treats other people. When he comes up in conversation among people who have worked with him, on podcasts, commentary, etc., there's clearly a lot of stuff that goes unsaid. They are always picking their words so carefully. Everyone was too uncomfortable, polite, concerned about how it would affect their career to be honest about how unpleasant and abusive he is until recently, and I think that's what gave a lot of folks a creepy vibe for so long. There was something not being talked about. I have to remind myself that his projects were a collaborative effort and I can still enjoy them as something that a lot of people worked very hard on rather than as the artistic vision of a selfish, mean man with a god complex. Tom Cruise. I would 100% not be surprised to discover that Tom Cruise murders babies and it's all covered up. Chrissy Teigen. I went to a recording of Pod Save America back in 2018 and John Legend was the guest. I was unaware of all of his advocacy work. He had such an interesting conversation with the hosts about the prison industrial complex and racism, etc. Then they brought out Chrissy Teigen. She just immediately starts talking about blowing John Legend and other really bizarre, stupid crap, trying so hard to be funny. I remember thinking, honey, the grown-ups are talking. They played a newlywed style game where they asked both of them the same questions and compared their answers, and hers were all hypersexual and just did not match the tone of anything else that was happening at this podcast taping. I was not surprised at all when she was almost entirely cut out of the episode that was put out a few days later. I already didn't find her amusing. I didn't get her stands on social media. I didn't find her takes entertaining. But seeing her so incapable of reading a room was wild. Just always confused by her appeal. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.